One thing I've learned by being a creator for many years, you can always use the tools you have in a different way to make your life more creative and easy. So today, that's what I'm going to show you. How to use Final Cut Pro for lighting a product shot. Most people will show you how to shoot a bottle or some other cylinder with their phone and some lights, which is kind of easy to do. You've got 2 highlights and a backlight. It's a little more difficult to get proper lighting on an odd shape. So I thought it would be fun to photograph a 30-year-old camera. This is my first digital camera. Hello creators, my name is Bear Brimer. So first of all, let me apologize for the sound of my voice. I just wanted to get out a video because they say starting a new channel, you need to make sure you post regularly. Here's what the final photograph will look like, and here's the things I used to get it done. An iPhone 14 Max, the free Blackmagic camera app, a few pieces of foam core, 2 small lights with some diffusions, and of course, Final Cut Pro. So now, let's crack on. So here's what we've got set up. We've got a small little tripod here with a phone on it. iPhone 14 Max. We've got 2 little puck lights, $25 a piece, that we're going to be using. Piece of diffusion, aluminum foil, black aluminum foil. 1 light, just turned it on, and I've got this little piece of cardboard here, foam board, using it as a feather for my light, because my light's going to come down and I want to feather it kind of dark towards the back. That's all that is. I did create a small stand for the camera to sit on. I am going to have to turn off the lights, the Blackmagic camera app, to make this happen. It's real quick and easy. My 1 light is set on about 20%, something like that. Not very high at all. Light in here in order to focus my light in how I want to see it. So that's all we're doing with this, is being able to focus our light, as you can see on the front of there. So let me take and turn off the lights first, then we can get going. What's great about having the Blackmagic camera app is I can really see what I'm working with here. It's at 24 millimeter. I could shoot a wider angle, but for this is perfect. And the 60 frames, what I found out is you cannot shoot at 60 frames. You'll drop a lot of frames if you shoot at 60. So instead, we're going to shoot this at 30 frames a second rather than 60. That way we don't drop any frames. So what that did was brightened it up a little too bright. Now I want it bright, not too bright, because I want some fall off. I want it to have a nice fall off. And so there we go. Just my light. My shutter speed is at 60. My ISO is at 250, so maybe I could drop that down a little bit and get it a little bit warmer looking. Not warmer, but a little bit darker looking. So I've got a little variance in it. Because I can brighten this up in Final Cut also. Now my white balance, I love that I can take and adjust this, because I can warm it up. And I can see on the screen exactly what it's going to look like on my final. So what I'd like it to be is around 48, looks good. 49 I think is going to be best. Okay, so we've got our basic shot right here. What we're going to do is take a piece of translucent material. This is Savage Translucent. And I'm simply going to take and get an overall light shot. Oh, what we need to do is start recording first. Oh, I changed it to auto white balance, my bad. Here we go, 48, 49. Let's do 5,000. Okay, now that we're set, we're going to start recording. That's where I wanted to be. And so now we're going to take and get an overall kind of light across the top. That's all that's for. Over here, I want just a little bit of light on the side, but not much. So that's it, those two highlights. Now what I want to do is come in and get a reflection inside that lens. So you can see now inside the lens I'm getting a really nice looking highlight inside the lens. Then I can pull back and have a nice even blend across the top with some highlights. And then the next thing is on this flash, I want to take and put a little bit of highlights on the flash, and I'll turn my light and adjust my foil. So that's it. I just want a nice soft highlight across that front edge. So that's about it. A minute's worth of shooting and we're done. Now we're going to go into post, into Final Cut, and I'll show you how to edit this out. So we open up Final Cut and we create a new project. Let's make this at least a 4K project. That's what we shot it in. We could make it bigger if we'd like. Then take the media, take the footage that we shot, and find that first base that we want. Now we're going to start duplicating layers here, and we're going to choose the different layers, the highlights that we want to mask out. So we've got a base layer, our first mask. Now we're going to choose our second mask, and that looks about right for the lens side of it. Once we've got that, we go to the next layer that we're going to create. In this one, instead of the lens, we're looking to highlight the flash part of the front of the camera. Then we take all of these, those are the different pieces that we want to highlight here. You can see right here it's a nice highlight. So the lighting looks good there on that part. The lighting looks good on the lens right here. And then we're going to come back to the overall shot right here. Now I did forget one layer that I wanted to add to it, so I'm going to just duplicate any of the layers. It's not a problem. So now I've got another side mask that I want to take and highlight. So we're going to have a total of 4 different masks to show the highlights where we want them. We've got our base and then the different masks. From here we're going to take and open up our masks and just put a draw mask on each one of these. We're just looking to get these set up, so all we've got to do is don't have to open that up and keep going back and forth. Now we're going to take and butt all these up because we're only going to be using the first frame of all of these different layers. They're just going to overlay on each other, and you'll see when we get a little bit further. From there, I'm zooming in. Only work on one layer. We only want to see one layer at a time. So on this layer you can see the click to add a control point is already there. So we'll take the draw mask and start drawing out the area that we want. On this one, like I said, we want to draw out over the whole camera because what we want to do is have the background show up dark with our shadows up underneath it. You can adjust the feather and the fall off a little bit to make sure it's what you want. And you can always come back on each layer and make those adjustments. Then let's go to the next one. And this is our highlight for the side panel, the right side that we put a diffusion on. So I'm going to take a little bit of the front and the side and make that mask. Again, adjust a little bit on the feather and the fall off. Then we'll go to the next layer and do the same thing. Open that one up, show the video. Let's open that one up, go in and select around the area that we're wanting this one to be. And again, sometimes I take a little extra on these and do a little fall off, and so we can see what we've got to work with. Same with the final layer. We're going to do that exact same thing. All of this takes about 10 minutes. Not too much time for lighting compared to trying to light it in a studio. So we do a little feather, a little fall off, and now we have all of our different layers here that you can see where the highlights are showing up exactly where we wanted them. And right there in the lens, we have a nice reflection in the lens. So the base layer, the mid layer, and all the different highlights on each layer themselves. So from there, we're going to shrink it down again, make sure it's only about 1 frame wide. Select all of them together and make a compound clip. That'll make it a little bit easier to do some of the things that you want to do, like transform. Here I'm just going to recompose my shot. And what's really great about this is that now you can color correct the whole image together. You could go back in and color correct individual layers if you'd like, but once you've got this all color corrected and like you want it, you can go into the effects and you can add any of the effects that you want. You can get any look that you want. You can add streaks, you can add highlights, all kinds of different filters and effects you can add. Again, you could go all day and add different filters and effects. So once you get the final, and we'll go back to the original, I'll show you. You go to Share, Save Current Frame. And we want to choose, under our settings, we're going to export as a Photoshop file because we're going to do a little bit of extra work in Photoshop. I would normally do this with any photograph because when you enlarge any photograph, you can see little bits and pieces that may need to be cleaned up. In this case, I'm also going to change the size. So here's what size it is, 72 dpi. But if we were going to go to print, we'd make this at 300 dpi. And so it makes an 8 by, roughly a 7 by 12. So now we're just cleaning up a little bit of the small areas, and we can dodge and burn also, and also saturate certain parts of it to really give it some punch, to make sure that it's got that extra touch up that really makes a big difference in what your final photograph looks like. What's interesting about using video instead of stills is how much quicker and easier the process is. Once you have your final image, you can open it in Photoshop and do some additional dodge, burn, and touch up. So with 1 to 2 minutes of shooting, 6 to 7 minutes of editing your image in Final Cut Pro, you can have a 20 meg image that looks like you used a whole studio of lights to shoot. The final question is, would I use this hack for client work? Well, maybe. I always discuss with the client what they want from the end product and balance that with what their budget is. Unfortunately, not all projects are tier 1, but by using this technique, you can provide your client with an end product that exceeds their expectation even on a budget. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this informative and valuable. We would love it if you would subscribe to the channel or comment below with a question. As always, see you in the next video. Now, creators crack on.